And we are recording with Miss Claire Lopez on Thursday, August 24th, 2023 at 2:11 p.m. Eastern Time. Miss Lopez, you can go into the please go into the description. Please follow her on Twitter or X, technically, and which is kind of weird hearing people say that, but whatever, not important. Uh, Kind of the big news is, well, last week we didn't do a show. Obviously, I took some days off, and it was the Maui fires, and maybe we can get into that towards the tail end. But the big news is yesterday, allegedly on Wednesday, August 23rd. I'm gonna butcher his name, Yevgeny Prigozhin died along with another prominent intel figure, if I'm correct, in a plane
His
crash.
deputy, whose name is Dmitry Utkin,
Okay.
was Dmitry Utkin.
Okay. Well, not, Miss Lopez did work in for the Central Intelligence Agency for 20 years, so I don't know why I'm still talking when I have you. So, Miss Lopez, what all happened? What allegedly happened? What may have happened? What happened?
Well, first of all, great to be with you again, Tommy,
Yes,
as
ma'am.
always.
Yes, ma'am.
Good to see you again. And the timing probably could not be better for the show. Not so much for the Wagner Group and its leadership, but yeah. So what happened yesterday is that the private plane, was a private business plane belonging to the Wagner Group, and its leader, Yevgeny Prigozhin, and you pronounced that perfectly, um, was shot down. Apparently shot down.
Oh, shot down.
Yes, by anti-aircraft fire shortly after it had taken off from Moscow en route with
I
10
did.
passengers aboard. That includes about 3 crew members and 7 Wagner guys, taken off from Moscow en route to St. Petersburg. Um, it seems from the evidence that is emerging, including photographs of the downed plane, parts of it, like a wing that became disattached. That it was the result. The downing was the result of anti-aircraft fire. This has long been anticipated. I mean, not necessarily this particular way of taking out Prigozhin and his top leadership, but that Prigozhin's days were numbered ever since the late June, 23,
Mhm.
24th of June this year, 2023, attempted mutiny, or whatever we're going to call it, that Prigozhin led from Ukraine on a march all the way to the outskirts of Moscow, where he stopped and turned around.
I had no idea it was shot. Is that new, or did I just gloss over that
There's an
entirely when I
awful
read
lot
it?
out there right now,
Well,
and
yeah,
sifting through
it's
it is not so easy. But this morning I saw a photo of the detached wing, one of the detached wings, I guess, of this private business jet, and it was riddled with shrapnel
okay.
marks, which would be an indicator of anti-aircraft fire against it.
I had no. I mean, obviously, yeah. Where it's the first 24 hours, everything's going to be hazy, and
Yeah,
no
yeah.
one, no one's trustworthy. They also saw Jimi Hendrix there or some shit, but like, yeah, it's. I had no idea. I hadn't seen the shooting down part. I didn't know that. I mean, I think as soon as it happened, everyone was like, yeah. I mean, you can't if you're gonna, if you take a shot at the king, you best not miss.
Yeah.
Doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong. It just is what it is. You can't. I don't know what you're expecting. So, is it is that fair to conclude that it was Putin? I mean, that's not really rocket science, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I agree with those whose analysis early on put
Yeah.
Prigozhin's days as numbered, and also his top leadership who were on that plane with him. We mentioned his deputy Dmitry Utkin, who also died in that crash.
Yeah. So, what does this mean for Wagner then? Is the MOD is that Russia? Is that Ministry of Defense? Is that what they have? Do they have an MOD
Um,
or
well,
DOD?
there are a number. I'm looking over here
Yeah, go
for
for it.
a recent article that again I just read. about the possibilities for what happens with
Yeah.
Wagner Group now going forward. And I saw this online this morning. And in any case, it offers three possibilities for Wagner. One, that overall, or in the majority, the remaining Wagner Group members shift their loyalty outright to Putin openly and quickly, I suppose. Then the second possibility is that Wagner as a group dissolves. That's probably not going to happen because it has such lucrative business interests, in particular in Africa, where it's taken over gold mines, perhaps soon to be Niger's uranium mines, and other lucrative properties, shall we say. The third possibility raised in this article, and I suppose I should give proper credit here, it is written by Michael Rubin. Michael Rubin, as folks may know, is a senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute think tank in Washington, D.C. So those are the first two. The third possibility he raises for Wagner, he characterizes as the most dangerous for Putin. Now, and he points out rightly that Prigozhin was not alone in that rebellion, mutiny, whatever it was back in June. But aside from, the hundreds of Wagner Group forces that went on that march all the way from Ukraine across Russia, headed towards Moscow, hundreds of miles, aside from just them, we saw at the time that Russian forces, to begin with, in Rostov-on-Don, that border city, Russian border city, just on the border with Ukraine, that remains, I guess, the headquarters for Russia's invasion of Ukraine, that the Wagner Group marched straight in to the main administrative building with no opposition. In fact, with the population welcoming him and his forces. And then along that 100-mile march on the way to Moscow, the same thing was happening. Russian populations in along that route did not oppose Prigozhin or the Wagner Group. The Rosgvardia, as they call it, that means the Russian National Guard, did not oppose him. The GRU did not oppose him. The Russian military did not oppose him, except for the Air Force and attempting to, I guess, bomb the columns, the Wagner columns headed toward Moscow on that, what is it called, the M4 highway, I guess. And of those, the Wagner forces shot down a bunch of them, which someone, I forget whom, not Michael Rubin in this article, but someone that I read speculated may have been the reason. Huh?
Eye for an eye.
Well, why the assignment to take out Prigozhin was given to the Russian Air Force.
Yeah.
Russian Air Defense
That sounds
forces.
like, yeah, okay, yeah.
Symbolically, perhaps. That
Probably.
makes sense to me in any case. So in any case, what I'm getting at here with Michael Rubin's three possibilities and now this third one, Putin doesn't really know, who within his inner circle even. Gerasimov is still in place, okay. So is, Sergei Shoigu. But aside from the rank and file even, doesn't know within his own forces who's with him and who's not. There is somewhat of a purge, it appears, taking place within the armed forces, not at the top, again, not Gerasimov and not Shoigu, but perhaps below them. But nevertheless, that doubt has got to be pretty strong in Putin's calculations, in his mind. So that's that's what I would sum up so far. One day later.
I mean, in all of my expertise as my time as a dictator, I would say that this is probably what you would do if you weren't sure who's loyal or not, is you kill someone and, you know, make it well known. And that kind of gets people to fall in line. I've always
Well, fall
wondered.
in line, but allegiance willingly, loyalty willingly,
Well, no, and
or
that's the
in
that's
tried and true, Russian historical faction, just uh, go along openly and keep your thoughts to yourself.
yeah, no, I mean, then there's the whole, one volunteer is worth 20 conscripts. Like, no, I get that.
Yeah.
That's kind of the hidden hand of the Soviet system. There's an author that said, the author of Billion Dollar Spy. So, like, much like we have like the hidden hand of the free market, there's a hidden hand of dictatorships that
Mm,
you're never gonna have voluntary love for the king. It's all gonna be somewhere or another. Somebody's vying for power, somebody's vying to defect, and
hmm
so you always have that inherent weakness. And it can work for a while. You got a gun to your head, you work for a while. I don't. I still think the whole mutiny, insurrection, whatever you want to call it, that whole thing still stinks. Again, as a biology major, the whole thing still stinks to high heaven. I just you you go all the way up there. I mean, from what very very little I know about Prigozhin, is he's not an idiot, right? He heads up a mercenary group. I mean, anyone I know, if you go for the king, don't miss or you're dead.
But was he really going for the king?
Well,
Did he really intend
and that's what I'm
a
getting to.
coup d'état against Putin,
I've
or not?
I for a while I've been pretty convinced that he and Putin worked together to draw out uh I guess disloyal, unloyal forces. I wonder if Putin now stabbed him in the back, use him to draw out unloyal forces and then kill him to really make a point. I wonder if Prigozhin didn't know that end of the deal. Not to go full tinfoil wrapping on, but
There's a lot that we just might never know.
yeah.
The deal, supposed deal among Putin, Alexander Lukashenko from Belarus, the president and dictator ruler, and Prigozhin, that supposedly stopped the advance on Moscow, allowed Prigozhin and the Wagner forces to relocate to Belarus, where supposedly they were going to be left alone. Um, there's a lot of questions. There are a lot of questions that we just may never know the answers to.
Any chance Prigozhin's still alive?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think that? The only
No,
reason I'm saying that is I never take the whole, people faking their deaths, because that just rarely ever happens. The only reason I'm saying it is he pulled such a head fake on everyone just 2 months ago, that's the only reason I'm like, well,
I don't know if that was a head fake. I
okay. I
don't think so. I think that was um,
think it was
a
cold feet.
realistic, an actual genuine um, expression. It was the culmination, really, of Wagner Group's, Prigozhin's um, unhappiness with the Russian Ministry of Defense, again, Gerasimov, Shoigu, and their, in his perspective, unwillingness or failure, in any case, to properly back them, supply them with everything they needed um, in the war against Ukraine. And in particular, we'll recall the early parts of this year, 2023, the battle for Bakhmut, where it was the Wagner forces that were the tip of the spear, if you will. But the complaints began then that they were not getting the proper ammunition, weaponry, resupply, food, you name it, that are necessary for to maintain forces in that kind of a pitched battle. And Prigozhin was very vocal about his unhappiness um, with the performance of the Ministry of Defense. And I think the march towards Moscow was the culmination of that dissatisfaction.
Hmm.
But not that he necessarily meant to overthrow Putin, but
Sure.
rather I think he wanted to force Putin's hand, perhaps, to replace senior officials like Gerasimov and Shoigu. That would be the Ukrainian offensive commander, Gerasimov, and of course, Shoigu, the Minister of Defense. That
Yeah, I
didn't
mean,
happen. That hasn't
no,
happened.
obviously, yeah, no, it's
But it may have been his attempt to obtain that outcome.
yeah, I mean, I it kind of maybe he forgot where he was, that you don't really get to voice, you know,
Or
discontent.
maybe the frustration just
Yeah,
got the better
it
of him
boiled
after all
over.
the months
Yeah, and
and
it
the
just
loss of so many of his Wagner forces. He, in other words, wanted Russia to pursue the war against Ukraine more aggressively, more savagely. Let's make no mistake; these people were monsters. Of course, Putin is too, but those who led Wagner, Prigozhin and Utkin and the others, are absolute monsters. Now, I'm looking for the name. Here he is. The I guess successor, if you will, to Prigozhin, who was not on the plane yesterday, is one Colonel General Mikhail Mizintsev. Mizintsev.
that the bald guy.
No, that would
Uh,
have been Utkin. I think you're
oh,
thinking.
okay, so okay, that's the picture I saw. It looked
This
like
guy was not on the plane and is being mentioned as perhaps the new leader of Wagner. Not so sure, but he could be.
hmm, any chance whatsoever that this wasn't Putin, that this is somebody trying to splinter?
No,
No,
no. The
I mean it's
anti-aircraft fire came from
yeah.
right outside of Moscow.
I mean if it's a pretty big layup that it was Putin. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's the I saw something yesterday. There's a I guess one of Putin's top generals, and you know because I'm American centric, all the names sound the same to me. But his nickname was Armageddon, and they said that he
Oh, I
hasn't been
think you're
seen.
thinking about the Air Force commander, right?
They said he hasn't been seen since the end of June.
Yeah. Let me get his name right for you.
Yeah, I wonder what happened with that guy.
I don't want to mispronounce it either. Okay, Sergei Surovikin. Sergei
Sergei
Surovikin is his
Sorokin.
name.
Gotcha. Um, yeah, I have no idea. I mean, I
Me
I,
neither on that one.
I mean, does Wagner just fall in line?
Well, remember, the Wagner forces took out, was it 6 or 7 of the Russian Air Force helicopters and one fixed wing plane that was one of those command and control
Yeah,
planes for the rest of them on that march towards Moscow. That was a failure by the Russian Air Force.
yeah. And that's that ain't nothing. That ain't nothing to do that in
Yeah.
you know in a country with a formidable military, United States, Russia, China, India. That's not nothing to shoot down some of the Air Force on your march to the capital. That's not you
Yeah.
can't just wave that off. That is some real power. I wonder. I don't know. I wonder if there's like a deal struck. New guy's going to be in power. You're going to fall in line. I mean, that would be. Would that be incorrect in saying kind of the oligarchs, Putin sort
Well, I
of
mean, it
delegating
very well,
power?
yeah. I mean, could be that Sorovikin is being replaced and who knows where he
Yeah,
is now, but that he very well could be being replaced.
gotcha. Uh, Um, yeah, I mean, I guess everything else is just kind of speculation. It's been 24 hours. So to pivot, um, well, one I was gonna say, I don't know if you saw, I didn't watch the interview, but I did see that Tucker Carlson's interview with Donald Trump is now the most viewed video in Twitter's history, and I think they're saying
Apparently,
it's the
yeah.
most viewed interview
I watched it
ever.
last night. I was trying to split my attention between the TV screen and
I'm gonna
my
I'm gonna
my
pull it up.
phone, so I was trying to watch both at the same time.
So, someone said it's the most viewed interview ever.
It may well be, yeah. Yeah.
Which I mean, I'm just trying to think like what would. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe is there like a presidential interview that's maybe up there? I don't. I guess I wouldn't. I was thinking maybe like Kennedy Nixon, but that was a debate.
Right. In
You
the
know,
early years of television,
two
when I
hundred
don't even
and
know if they had a means of keeping track of viewership.
228 million views. Whole
That's like 2/3 of the entire American population
it
at
was
the
at
moment.
170 when I looked at it last night.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if these
228.
are unique views or could possibly include people going back to it. I don't know.
But I think that counts as a, you look at like a YouTube video with a billion views, a lot of it's repeat people.
That
Yeah, there's no way to tell
it's
if it's
possible,
unique.
but even so, the numbers are humongous.
It's
There's no getting away from that.
I can ask someone that's done 1,330 episodes and has a cumulative of about across all platforms. I have about 9 million total views. Yeah, no, I
Wow.
did this. No, it's not. Wow, I'm looking at this and I'm
I
like,
think it is. I
hey,
think it's very impressive.
well, thank you, Miss Lopez. But 17 hours. It's not even. It's been up for 17 hours. Not even a full
Yeah.
24.
Yeah, but that's
Wow.
Tucker and Trump, okay? I mean,
Yeah, no, but still, I'm just.
yeah.
I mean, that is wow.
Yeah.
But that had nothing to do with what I was going to say. Is I
No.
didn't watch the debate, so I don't really, I can't really comment on that. If you want to, we could, but I was going to say, because I know we have a limited amount of time, is the Maui fire. So again,
Okay.
just I guess, pleading ignorance. I wasn't aware of just how bad. I mean, really, for the last like 2 weeks, I've kind of been in and out of the podcast, but I wasn't aware of like just how bad. I guess I also didn't know Prigozhin was
No,
shot
this
down.
is not your fault. There has been a methodical media
The
blackout
hell is going
on
on?
what happened on the island of Maui, in particular, the resort
Since when?
seaside town of Lahaina.
Since when does the FBI take over a wildfire?
Well, it's the U.S. government and the Hawaiian government, which has been keeping out media,
Yeah, what the hell is going?
blocking the media, including airspace for drones, which media increasingly use nowadays. Blocked, blocked.
What in God's name is this a modern day Katrina? Is this what they would have done in Katrina and whenever oh five
Hard
oh
to
four?
know, hard to say. I mean, I know that they're still conducting um, search and recovery operations. It's just such a horrific scene that they have to literally sift through ashes house to house. It's horrible.
Yeah, I mean, people are
Um,
going to
and
find
I get
teeth.
that you don't want necessarily,
Sure.
media tromping all over what might contain, human remains,
Yeah, no, I mean,
possibly. So I get that part. But the other part of that is that the leadership, even of the state of Hawaii, the governor, the two senators, the various congressional House representatives, just really not being out there front and center. And then, of course, the quickie fly in, fly out visit by President Biden 2 days ago on Tuesday of this week. So
22nd.
he took time out. I mean, you got to give him credit. He took time out of his vacation. I forget which week of the vacation this is, but apparently they were staying at Lake Tahoe at a expensive in a friend's very expensive home. Uh, by the way, why doesn't anybody say that anything about him taking private vacations from wealthy friends when they're all over Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas for doing the same thing? But that's an aside. So he took this
Because
little
they're
time
racist.
out to go visit Maui, um, and it was not a successful visit. I'm sure you've seen,
Yeah, then you fall asleep.
the video, the accounts of that visit. Um, it just the unbelievable lack of empathy, lack of sympathy, lack of caring for these people who have lost everything, and too many of them, their own lives and family and children still to be found. And all he could say was, well, I once had a small kitchen fire and I almost lost my Corvette.
Yeah, that's
Just tone deaf. And then, of course, there was the luncheon um, later after that debacle, luncheon with some of the victims and survivors of that horrible fire in Lahaina, during which Biden has been filmed literally falling asleep at the table.
So, I mean, none of this is surprising to me, and we've kind of beaten the dead horse. Biden's brain dead. I get that. I'm more just. I mean, on one end, you have the people saying like, "Don't you dare disrespect. We need unity. Support the president during this fire." And the other end, you have people saying this is QAnon and it was a laser from space. What I mean, but there is
Well,
something insane. Is it's such a
it
huge
is
fire
insane. But when you block out the media the way this has been
that
done,
you give
you're
credence
going
to
to get
conspiracy theorists.
conspiracy theories all over the place.
Yeah, you're
Um,
not helping your cause there.
no,
Yeah.
and I think there are ways to, um, to preserve the areas which are being still actively, searched for remains and for, whatever may remain of what happened and how it happened. You can preserve that while still outside of that immediate perimeter, welcoming in the media to give updates, uh, maybe even daily updates from the authorities. And instead, what we're hearing from local people, which do get out over whatever social media is possible, um, are reports that the aid and assistance are Hawaiians, people on Maui, helping one another, just generously providing whatever they can possibly do in terms of food, water, clothing. Elon Musk in there with, Starlink connections to help people get back up, online with phone service, with computer connections, cell phones. And then, of course, the private organizations who are always there on the ground first, Samaritan's Purse, the Red Cross, yes, but FEMA, who's FEMA? Where's FEMA? At least this is what people are saying, the locals who do get messaging out, that help from the U.S. government is just woefully inadequate, if it's there hardly at all, and that the assistance is coming from each other, people helping one another.
I mean, yeah, it almost does give a little power to the idea that there is something more going on if they're blotting out media. I mean that.
Well, what we could get to maybe in the time we have remaining,
Yeah,
are causes.
yeah.
How did this happen?
Well,
Why did this happen?
was this an attack?
Well,
Was this an arson?
well,
What it?
or more plausibly, um, you know, were the policies of the state of Hawaii and its leadership, over time, over years and years, geared more towards, um, you know,
Equity.
equity, Green New Deal.
Yeah,
You've got a senior official now, I guess, resigned from his post, talking about water,
yeah,
water as it's not a resource for everybody to just use. It's about equity.
yeah,
And the word coming from firefighters that they did not get adequate water, to
yeah.
the fire hydrants for them to use, even when they begged for hours, please turn on the water, please turn on the water, and it
So
didn't happen.
that's
So
what
there's that.
that's
there's
what
there's
that's what's going to come out then. Is there
yeah, that's what they're trying to
that's gonna
cover up.
slip out. There's gonna be some
but
iPhone
but
video of
also, the policies of the power and utilities companies, that uh traditionally, or in decades past, Maui was covered with sugarcane fields. Those, I guess, no longer proved, economically viable, and so the sugarcane fields were let go, and in their place grew up a bunch of, wild grasses. And we all know that Hawaii does have hot, dry seasons when grasses like those become tinder, pure tinder. Now, in many places on the island, maybe that wouldn't have mattered, but around places like utility poles that may have come down in high winds, one way or another, come down, and you know, and an arc sparks a flame to the grasses, and then high winds could have you know carried that, did apparently carry that you know towards Lahaina. So it's a failure to of the power and utilities companies to maintain you know proper measures around their own equipment, around you know their own power lines, power poles, telephone poles, because you know green, you know you can't
That's
clean
what
up, you can't maintain proper you know control, you know environmental control of the surroundings of these things, because you know that, well, you know green.
that's what it's gonna be. That's I
So
think
these are all things that are being mentioned. Hard to say how much any of this, each one or the other, might have contributed to the disaster.
yeah.
There are reports that roadways that would have been an exit for people were blocked. They couldn't get out. They turned, some of them turned around and went back and perished in the fire. Others disobeyed orders and blockages and just found a way around to escape, and they lived. Um,
This
and
thing's
then, of
starting to
course, the
stink to high
reports about
heaven.
the alarm system, the siren system. The excuse they are given is that the alarm is most often used to warn people about a possible tsunami. And if it had been, this is what they're saying, right? If it had been sounded in this case, people might have run away from the ocean and into the flames rather than heading for the water. I don't know. But that's one of the excuses out there being
Of
given. But
all
all of this
excuse
together.
of all excuses, that's the one that I would maybe give someone in a panic, maybe give them a little benefit of the doubt. Maybe you have some idiot like me freaking out. You see a forester, you don't press that. You go. I don't really believe that at all. But if I had to choose an answer, multiple choice test, if I had to circle one, maybe that. But
Maybe.
this whole thing's, and this isn't Prigozhin. This isn't where we're probably never going to find out. Something's going to come out. There's way too many eyes. There's way too
Oh,
many phones.
eventually there will be reporting. It's just in this immediate
Yeah, no,
aftermath.
no,
It's been a week or what more now.
no, we'll find it.
Yeah,
There's too many people
eventually.
involved with too many phones, too many
I think you're right.
devices.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the Twitter files. There's too many fingerprints and threads, and
Yeah.
man, this is a spicy conspiracy. It's just something. If they're immediately moving to cover it,
You know,
that
if mistakes were made, you know, mistakes were made, and that
yeah,
does
sure,
happen, and it's human. Okay.
sure,
But admit them as soon as you know them,
yeah.
correct them if you can, and be transparent to the people you serve, especially you, elected officials of Hawaii.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you know, after the first plane hit the North Tower, security started telling people evacuating from the South Tower to go back inside because everything was fine. No one thought a second plane was coming. Like,
Yeah.
did people die because of that?
Yeah.
Certainly. No one's holding that to people's heads. It's a shitty day and it's something happened.
Yeah.
I don't know, this is the cover up is what always gets me, is when it's immediately when you don't even need to expect anything, you go, oh God, you know, thoughts and prayers there, you know, there's a forest fire there. And then they blot out the media and they stop all shipment of aid and the FBI goes in there. You go,
What's
what?
going on?
You
And
go, what?
all the president can say to a reporter's
No
question is
comment.
no comment.
You go,
I mean, at least our hearts go out to the people
yeah,
of
just
Lahaina and Maui, so tragically affected by this terrible fight, these terrible fires.
give them the canned
Just some,
response.
any, you know,
Give them the political, give them the once over, it's a tragedy or whatever. You have a speechwriter. Just give them a sentence.
well, I mean, I'm not even thinking about a speechwriter as he climbs into his car headed from the beach to I don't know where dinner.
Yeah.
I'm talking about human feeling
Oh yeah, no.
from his heart if he has
Oh
one.
sure. No, he should. I was just looking at
But
like at the very least.
there was no feeling. There was no sympathy or empathy or anything else coming from that man. None.
That's what I mean. Even if you don't feel anything, at least just give him a quick, God bless America or something. But no comment. That's I don't know, man. That
Absolutely heartless.
I mean, the only thing I could possibly think of, but it's not even on the same island, isn't the Big Island's got that gigantic NSA center. That's the only thing I could think of is national security, but it's not even the same island. So I don't know. I'm coming up short. I don't know. It's
I'm sure we'll have opportunity to cover more of this
yeah,
going forward
something's gonna come
at
out.
some later date.
Too many people involved. Something's gonna come out, and yeah, that'll be interesting. But I know you got another thing coming up. So
I
Miss Claire
do.
Lopez, I will let you go. Guys, please go in the description. Please go follow Miss Lopez on Twitter. Please go to her website. Please go check out all the links in the description. You can get more of Miss Lopez. And I believe I will see you next week.
Planning on it. Thank you, Tommy.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Where's my cursor? I think my mouse just died. Oh, here it is. Guys, thank you so much for watching. God bless. Take care, everybody. Peace.